Bonjour, welcome to lesson number 10. Leçon 10. What is the title of our lesson? It is C'est par où? Okay, c'est par où? Where is the way? So let's look at the lesson objectives. Les objectifs du cours sont le premier, it is les vocabulaires. We are going to learn about the lieux publics, the public places. Next, le moyen de transport, which is the means of transportation. And the third one, we are also going to learn about a verb, a new verb, which is the verb prendre. Try to repeat after me. Prendre. Okay, so next we are going to learn l'impératif. Okay, l'impératif, which is giving order or instruction or even direction. Okay, so the third one will be demander et indiquer la direction. So it is about asking and giving direction. We are going to learn how do you actually ask and give the direction in French. And the last one is adverb y, or in French is adverb y. Okay? Let's start with part 1, the vocabularies. The first one is lieu public, but this one will be focusing more on the masculine words. Okay? Let's look at the first word over here. It is the museum. Okay, the museum. As we all know, if it is the museum, you should say le musée. Le musée. Z. Okay, not say. So you pronounce like Z. Okay, but what if you want to say to the museum, or if you want to say at the museum? Okay, at or to the museum. So you should say au musée. Do you remember when you want to use this preposition au, it is used for countries, right? So for countries that are masculine. Okay, so this is the same situation where if you have the places, les lieux, okay, that are masculine word, you should use au. To actually means to or at the museum. Okay, so let's look at the second example. Okay, the second word over here is shop. Okay, to say the shop, it is le magasin. Le magasin. Okay, so the second one is to at the shop, the same situation as the first one. So you need to use au. Au. Okay, so why is it au? Because magasin is a masculine word. Next, let's look at another word, which is the park. Okay, le parc. Le parc. Okay, so le parc is the park. Okay, if you want to say to the park or at the park, it is au parc. Au parc. Okay, so at the park. The fourth one is the restaurant. Le restaurant. Le restaurant. Okay, so if you want to say to the restaurant or at the restaurant, you can say au restaurant, because restaurant over here is a masculine word. Next, let's move on to the feminine word. Okay, so if you have the feminine word for the public places, okay, for example here, la banque, la banque. Okay, la banque, the bank. If you want to say to the bank or at the bank, you can say à la banque. So you no longer say au, yeah? So you need to have the preposition a, okay? You need to have the preposition a and then add in, of course, the article, okay, from this one. So à la banque, okay? So you don't need to change it to anything else, okay? What about the second example? This one is the post office. Okay, if you are talking about the post office, it is la poste, la poste. If you want to say to the post office or at the post office, you can say à la poste, à la poste. Okay, add in the preposition à. Next, if you want to say about the train station, okay, for the train station, it is la gare, la gare, okay. You can hear a little bit of vibration over here, right, for the air, okay. So if you want to say to the train station or at the train station, it is à la gare, à la gare, okay. What about the next one, the courtyard? Okay, as you can see in the picture, you do have this in Utah too, right? The courtyard. You can say la cour, la cour. If you want to say that you are going to the courtyard, you can say je vais à la cour. Je vais, I am going to, à la cour, to the courtyard. Next is the famous library. Okay, library, what do you call library in French? It is la bibliothèque. La bibliothèque. It's quite long, right, as a word, so sometimes you can actually just pronounce it as biblio. So à la biblio. Okay, so if you want to say to the library or at the library, you can say à la bibliothèque, à la biblio. Okay. Next, this one is la mairie, la mairie. Okay, this is the city hall or the town hall. Normally, it is for the government servants, okay, in a city. So la mairie, if you are going to the city hall, you can say à la mairie. These are the other public places that you can have, the university, l'université. The difference is that the words start with a vowel. Okay, so if the words start with a vowel, as usual, you should have your apostrophe. So over here, if you want to say to the university or at the university, you should say à l'université, à l'université. It doesn't matter whether it's a feminine or a masculine word, you should still use a l apostrophe if the word starts with a vowel. Okay, so the next word here is l'hôpital, the hospital, à l'hôpital, to the hospital or at the hospital. Next one is l'hôtel, the hotel or à l'hôtel, to the hotel or at the hotel. Next, we are going to move on to the means of transport, le moyen de transport. Okay. First of all, normally in general, all of the transports you can use en. Okay, in English you normally use by, right? I am going to the train station by bus. Okay, by train, by it will be used as by. But in French you can use en. En. How do you pronounce? It is en. Je vais, I am going, à la gare, to the train station. by bus, en bus. Okay, so je vais à la gare en bus. En bus. Okay, so next one is le métro. Okay, over here you can say en métro. If it is the train, by train, you can say en train. En train. Okay. Next one, this is the taxi. By taxi, en taxi, en taxi. So over here, this is roller skates. So if you are using roller skates, it is plural, right? But still, you can use the same word, en. En roller, en roller. Okay. Now next, let's look at the airplane. Okay, so by airplane, you can say en avion. En avion. It doesn't matter if the word starts with a vowel or not, so you will still use en. What about this one? This is by car. En voiture. En voiture. These are some exceptions, yeah. So if you want to say that you are going to the university by walking, you need to use a. Okay, you don't have to use on anymore. It is now a. Okay, the letter A with the accent here. So it's à pied. À pied. So je vais à l'université à pied. Next one, à moto. It is by motorcycle. Nous voyageons à moto. We travel by motorcycle. The third one over here is by bicycle. Okay, à vélo. À vélo. So aller à la banque à vélo. Okay. Okay, now this is the last part of part 1, which is the verb prendre. Prendre. So what's the meaning of this verb? It is to take. It means to take. Let's look at the conjugation of the verb. Okay, the first one here is je prends le train pour Singapour. Okay, so I take the train for Singapore. So over here, how do you conjugate the verb? You should have S at the end of your word. So it is a little bit different than the verb ER. Okay, let's look at tu. Tu prends le taxi. You take the taxi. Okay. The third one is a little bit different. Okay. Il, elle prend. You don't have S anymore here, yeah? So your S should only have after tu and also after je. Okay? For il, elle prend du café le matin. Okay? He or she takes coffee in the morning. So the verb prendre can mean to take, the transports, but it can also be used to say that you take some drinks or also some food. Okay? For example, this one, as you can see in the picture, qui vient prendre son petit café avec moi? Who come to take his, coffee with me? Okay, so you can use the verb prendre with drinks and also food. Okay, next verb, conjugation of the verb is vous prenez. Same as the ER verb. Next one is nous prenons. And the last one is ils prennent des frites. Elles prennent des frites. Okay, des frites is fries. Okay, fries that you eat for with your burger and also des frites. Okay, you can use it for food. Now let's move on to part 2, which is impératif or giving order, instruction and also direction. What is actually l'impératif? It is to give direction, order and also give recommendation. So it is actually in the form of present tense, but it is without pronoun. Okay, it is without pronoun. So we will look after this. It is just the same as the conjugation of the verbs, but the difference is that you don't have the personal pronoun in front. Okay, but the imperative actually only exists in the second person singular, which is tu, the first person plural, which is nous, and the second person plural, which is vous. Okay, so let's look at some of the conjugation of the verb. If you are using the imperative for the ER verb, okay, you need to use it like this. The first one is chante, no S, yeah? You cannot put any S. The second one is chantons. The third one is chanter. So you only have all of these three: tu, nous, and vous. Remember, only three pronouns should be used. What about the third group, which is the RE group? It is mais, mettons, mettez. Okay, so in here the difference between this group and the first group is only this one. Look, yeah, the conjugation here for tu, normally you have S, right? But for the ER verb, you do not have S. Okay, don't put any S at the end when you are using imperative. Okay, but for the third group, you do have the S. Okay, let's look at the examples to have a clearer picture of this. Okay, the first example is the verb aller, which means to go. Okay, the normal statement will be tu vas à droite, you are going to your right. Okay, but for the imperative, you are giving, okay, you are giving an instruction, and then you can say va à droite. No S, right? Okay, only VA, yeah? Va à droite. It means go to your right. Okay, so the difference between the statement and the imperative is the statement is saying you go to your right. Imperative will be go to your right. Okay, so you are giving instruction. What about the second tu? You can use the verb chercher, for example. Tu cherches un poule. Imperative will be cherche un poule, search a sweater. Okay, you search a sweater, search a sweater. Okay, so that's the difference, that no S, yeah, for the ER verb. The third one is the verb trouver. Tu trouves la voiture. Impératif, trouve la voiture, find the car. No S, yeah? Okay, so that is for the pronoun tu. What about vous? Vous will be vous allez à gauche, you go to your left. And then imperative will be allez à gauche. Okay, allez à gauche. Next one is chercher. Vous cherchez un poule. Cherchez un poule. So search a sweater. In English, it will be normally the same, yeah? But in French, it will be different. What about the verb trouver? Vous trouvez la rue. Find the street. Okay, so that will be for the pronoun vous. What about the last pronoun that we use for impératif? It is the verb aller, to go. The statement can be nous allons à droite. We are going to the right side. So your imperative will be allons à droite, okay? Go to your right, okay? So that will be for aller. The second one is chercher. Nous cherchons un pull. We look for a sweater. And then impératif will be cherchons un pull, search a sweater. Okay, same one, yeah, but same one in English, different in French. And the last one is the verb trouver. Nous trouvons la voiture. Imperative will be trouvons la voiture. Search the car is find the car. Find the car. So we find the car. Okay, so the last part is the verb prendre. Okay, a little bit different, right? So the verb prendre, the statement will be tu prends le taxi. Imperative, how is it? Okay, for imperative, it will be prends le taxi. The difference is that you have the S, okay? You need to put the S, okay? What about the second one? Prends-vous, vous prenez l'avenue, okay? Prenez l'avenue. Take the avenue, okay? And the last one here is nous prenons l'avenue, okay? So take the avenue. Same in English, different in French. Okay, so this is how you give direction, yeah, to someone. So for example, you can say va tout droit, go straight, or you can say allez tout droit. Okay, allez. Do you know the difference between tu and also vous, right? So vous is when you use it for maybe a stranger, okay, someone who is older than you. So you can use allez tout droit. Next is tourne à droite, tournez à droite, okay? Turn, okay? It means turn to your right. Next one is tourne à gauche, turn to your left, tournez à gauche, turn to your left. Okay, so you can use it like this. These are another verbs that you can use, okay, to give directions. You can say passe devant la banque, passer devant la banque. Okay, it means that you need to go pass in front of the bank. Next one, you can say passe devant la poste, passer devant la poste. Okay, traverse le pont, traverser le pont, which means cross the bridge. So traverser means cross. So cross the bridge. You can also use traverse la rue, traverser la rue, which means cross the road. You can also use the verb prendre over here, which is prends le bus, prenez le bus, take the bus. Prends un taxi, prenez un taxi. Okay, take a taxi. Okay, so now let's continue with part 3, demander et indiquer la direction, which means asking and giving the direction. So over here, these are some of the expressions that you can use when you want to ask direction, yeah? So the first one is pardon. Pardon, it means pardon, you know, in English, pardon. Pardon. Or the second one, you can use excusez-moi madame, excusez-moi madame, excuse me madam, mademoiselle. You already know by now the difference between madame and mademoiselle, right? Okay, next one you can say pour aller à. Okay, in English, if it's a direct translation, maybe it's for to go to, right? But normally, in a normal English, you would say to go to. Okay, so that's why you cannot direct translate a language, yeah? So pour aller à means to go to, okay? So next one is c'est loin d'ici. It's far from here. C'est loin d'ici. Next, je cherche la rue, l'avenue, le boulevard, la place, la gare. Okay, I am looking for, and then you can put the places that you want to search for. Next, you can also say comment aller à, how to go to. And the last one here is où est, where is. This is the most simple expression, right? Okay, so this is la rue. We will just look at it briefly. L'avenue des Champs-Élysées. As you can see, this is the avenue of Champs-Élysées. Next, this one is le boulevard. Here is la place de Bastille. Normally, this is like a square, okay, a place for people to chill around, you know, having some family time together with family and friends. This one is also la place du 8 septembre. It's a square for people to hang around. And here is a train station. It is la gare. La gare. It's a very simple word in French. Next, let's continue with the last part, which is part 4. Adverbe Y. Adverb Y. So what does Y means? Yeah, Y actually means there. Okay, so what is it actually for? It is to replace the precedent place with the prepositions. Okay, for example, if someone asks you, comment allez-vous au Mexique? How do you go to Mexico? Okay, to Mexico. And you can answer, normally you will answer with je vais au Mexique. I go to Mexico en avion, by airplane. Okay, but you can also use it by replacing au Mexique with the very simple letter of Y. Je vais au Mexique en avion. Okay, so you can just erase au Mexique and replace it with Y by putting the Y after the personal pronoun. As you can see here, Y is considered as a vowel, yeah? So if it is a vowel, remember you should have apostrophe and you should erase your E, right? So your sentence should be J, okay? J'y vais en avion. J'y vais en avion. Okay? J'y vais en avion. Okay? So this Y, it is considered as au Mexique in this situation, in this context. What about the second example? Comment André va à la banque? Okay. Normally you will answer il va or André va à la banque en taxi, by taxi. He goes to the bank by taxi. So of course you can erase à la banque, okay, and then you can replace it with Y, okay, but remember the Y should be after the personal pronoun. So André y va en taxi, okay. So as you can see here, there are other prepositions, okay, that you can also use, that you can also replace with Y, which is à, dans, en, chez, sur. Okay, so all of these prepositions, if you have it in your sentence, you can also replace it with Y. For example, nous allons au lycée. We go to the school. Okay, this lycée means the secondary school. Yeah, normally it's high school. So au lycée, you just need to erase au lycée. Remember, yeah, together with the preposition, and then you need to put y, okay, after the personal pronoun. So you are going to say the sentence as nous y allons. Nous y allons. The second example over here is ils discutent dans la cour. Okay, ils discutent dans la cour. So you are going to erase dans la cour and you need to replace it with y. So y should be after the personal pronoun. Ils y discutent. Okay? So in conclusion, we have learned 4 of the important objectives of our lesson. The first one is the vocabularies. We learn about the lieu public that you have different genders, masculine and feminine. You also have the means of transportation, les moyens de transport, and also how do you actually say it in French? It is en bus, remember? En bus, en train, okay? But you can also use it for à pied, okay? So you need to know what is your transportation. What is your transport? You also learn about the verb prendre, which means to take. The second one is impératif, which means to give order, instruction, and also direction. So this is when you want to give instruction, but the only personal pronouns used for this imperative is tu, vous, and nous. Okay, so the third one is demander et indiquer la direction, asking and giving direction. You can say excusez-moi, excuse me, or you can say où est, where is, to ask the direction to someone. And the last one, it is the adverb y. It is to remplace complément de lieu. Okay, it is to replace some of the places, okay, that is introduced by the prepositions à, dans, en, chez, and sur. Okay, so you can just replace it and put the y after the personal pronoun. Okay, so that's all for this lesson. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.